I'm Auryanna Ascue with WHOV-TV, and today we are here for a special segment with the candidates vying for the 81st Student Government Association President. I want to welcome Miss Miko Harris-Savells and Jaden Watson. How are y'all doing today?
I'm doing well today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. How are you?
Well, too. How are yourself?
Thank you so much. Well, we are so glad to have you all here today just to talk and share a little bit more about your platforms. So I first want to start off with you, Miss Miko. What kind of went into the brainstorming and development process of your platform, Dream? What gravitated you towards, Dreamgirls, because it's such a, well-known and loved movie, and we just kind of want to know a little bit more about it.
Yes, definitely. So my campaign is based on the movie Dreamgirls, but honestly, it's so much bigger than that. It's really about us as students and the dreams that we have for our illustrious institution, Hampton University. So my platform is Dream, which is delivering results, raising student voices, elevating student experiences, advocating with purpose, and moving Hampton forward. And I really chose that because I know I have a lot of dreams for Hampton, and I know speaking to a lot of my peers, they have a lot of dreams and goals for the school as well. So I just really want to actualize those dreams and make those dreams for everyone come to life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm going to move on to you, Jaden. So your platform is titled EAT, and as Miko previously stated, her platform is Dreamgirls, which can kind of be identified based off of the title, but could you tell me a little bit more from the marketing and advertising perspective about what went into, your platform and your campaign?
Of course. So EAT is my platform standing for Expanding the Role of SGA, Actualizing the Standard of Excellence, and Transforming the Future of Hampton. It kind of ties into the whole concept of my campaign, which is cooking. Something I love to do, a hobby of mine. Also Hampton, something I also love, and SGA has become a hobby of mine while I've been here. So when I was kind of coming up for inspiration with it, I looked at the key issues that I'm seeing across Hampton. Number one, the role of SGA. I feel like a lot of times why students are kind of hesitant to see the change is because we're not in a position to really make the change happen. Therefore, I want to elevate the platform in which we can advocate.
Absolutely.
Second off, actualizing, Hampton advertises standard of excellence. I want us to meet the standard in some areas that we're lacking. And lastly, transforming. Hampton, this is a great time for Hampton. Retention's up, applications are up. We're having the highest high school day, highest admitted students day. So I want to make sure that the future Hamptonians are not only getting the same experience, but a better one than we had.
Absolutely. So you are a third year, and you've had the opportunity to kind of witness, previous administrations.
Yes.
And this question is to both of you, and I'm going to start with you first. What aspects of previous administrations do you admire and may want to implement if you, become president?
Of course. So one of my bigs, Lillian Carr, she was the president for the 79th administration. I loved the transparency her administration had. I felt like I knew what was going on. She kept us very in the loop, very up to date. A common problem I'm seeing with Hampton students is they feel like they're not being heard. They feel like they don't know what's going on, number one, what's being done, and they feel like regardless, they're not being heard, so it doesn't matter. So I just want to flip the transparency on that, really just communicate. Everything should be an open book. We're not doing anything to hide it. At the end of the day, our interest, as the Student Government Association is in the interest of yourself, as well as the administration too. We're not fighting, we're all on the same team here.
Absolutely, and I will say SGA plays a huge part in that, so we obviously want to make sure, we have the best representatives that can, expand and echo the voices of our class. So I'm moving on to you, just asking about, what you might want to implement from previous administrations.
Yes, definitely. So I've been inspired by previous administrations. I've served in SGA under multiple different administrations, but specifically from the 79th administration, I've been inspired by the way the big three carried themselves, and they were very united, and whenever I saw them, they were all together, and they just showed a sense of unity amongst themselves, and that's something that I really admire, and I'd like to implement that because I believe as someone who served in the cabinet under them, I felt that we were unified, and I think that also trickles down to the student body as well. So I think when the leaders are unified, that means the campus can be unified. So that's something that I would like to bring to the table as well.
Absolutely, and like you said, you've already served in those leadership positions, so I want to ask you, from your experiences, within those leadership positions and running campaigns, what about you has improved during this entire process? And you're going into the professional world. So how has this process prepared you, for post-grad? I'm going to start with you.
Okay, perfect. I think this process has helped me improve, mostly because it's helped me to break out of my shell a little bit. I've been talking to a lot of people across campus, just trying to navigate, see where their heads are, see what their ideas are for the campus, what their concerns are. And I think that's really helped me to elevate myself as an individual, just because sometimes I am a little bit more reserved, but especially in a role like SGA president, you are more forward facing, and that's something that I would like to see for myself as well. So this campaign season has definitely taught me a lot about that and given me the opportunity to branch out. So I've enjoyed that and I appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going to move on to you.
Thank you. Right. So I'm a political science major, and one of the things that I said early on was I feel like political science is like the business of people. I love people. I love being around people. I also love to listen. I love stories. Like I love when people tell me stories. I love to hear about people's experiences. When I translate that to my experience at Hampton, I love listening to people's Hampton experience because I love Hampton. When I hear about a negative experience, it kind of makes me like, what can I do to fix that? Right. I feel like I'm a proactive person. I like to problem solve. I like to find solutions. So that definitely is probably what got me into campaigning in the first place. And then campaigning, I mean, it's a lot. It's tiring. But it's so fulfilling. It definitely, like Migo said, helps you step out of your shell, doing things I never would have thought I've done. I love being in people's face. I love talking to people. It puts me out there in front of more people than I probably would have talked to normally. And I feel like that's like the greatest gift that it's given me.
Absolutely. I kind of want to dive into, what you spoke about in the debate. So you were speaking to the point of expanding your role with SGA, yes. And you touched a lot on how student leaders can take action, beyond campus. But how do you plan to mend the fractured pipeline between the wants and needs of students and what is actually feasible for administration to accomplish?
So a lot of things are feasible. It's just about how you present it. I feel like my time in SGA has really allowed me, to sharpen the way I present things to make them feasible to the university. This is a multi-million-dollar university. A lot of things can happen. A lot of smart people are on the admin council. A lot of smart people are in those meetings. We can make a lot of this stuff happen. We just ask that the student body be patient. That's another thing. I feel like students are expecting, quick change. Right. The university is a business at the end of the day. So, things take time, things have their processes. But I just want the student body to know and to trust that we are working for them. Like I said, we're on the same team here. Everybody's interest is the same. We just want a better Hampton.
Yeah, thank you so much. I kind of want to touch on the aspects of your campaign. Part of your platform is raising student voices and as well as elevating student experiences. What specific concerns of students have you heard amongst your peers, and are you able to attest to any unpleasant experiences that you've had at Hampton that have left you motivated to work against them should you become the next SGA president?
Yeah, definitely. So I know that Hampton has its challenges. I know being a Hampton student is not always a perfect experience every single time, and that's understandable. I know every institution has their own problems, but I do believe that it is feasible to make these changes for students. I know that housing is a concern, I know that parking is a concern, and I know that the administrative buildings as well as the dorms are a concern as well. So hearing about those concerns that I have seen and faced as well, I plan to bring all of that to the meetings that I have with administration and to make direct change for the students. And I also want to be very transparent. I know that these things take a lot of time and effort, and I want students to not feel discouraged because things are not happening as quickly as they may want or desire, but there are changes being made behind the scenes, and I really want to be transparent and make sure that people are aware. So in order to do that, I would like to create a more casual dynamic between the students and SGA. I want to incorporate SGA office hours so students can have a one-on-one session with myself or other members of the cabinet, just so they can feel like they're included in the process and they're staying up to date on this information.
Absolutely, and thank you again so much for your willingness to want to improve the student body. It's not an easy task at all, so we really appreciate you guys for that. I kind of wanted to ask you guys both, should you not be selected as the next SGA president, how do you plan to help curate a positive student experience through the rest of your time here? I want to start with you, Jaden.
Yeah, thank you. So like I said, I think a big misconception that people have about the victory is at the end of the day, we're students too. The better Hampton that we want for you guys, we also want for ourselves. And me going to my senior year, I definitely want that. And I have friends from home, people who I recommended Hampton to, they're coming in. I want a better experience for them as well. If I'm not selected, the work doesn't stop. The connections I've built over the past couple of years are still there. The problems aren't going to disappear either. And another thing that I've learned in SGA is sometimes as a leader you need to know and ask for help. So I'm sure that there are going to be areas where I can fill in and help as needed to still fix some of the issues that students are facing.
Absolutely. Transition into you.
Yes, definitely. So if I'm not selected to be the Student Government Association president, I will definitely be okay with that decision because I know that there is a lot of work that can be done behind the scenes as well. And I have served in SGA for the past 3 years, so I will be able to use a different role to expand my voice and to make those changes that are in my platform, but I can use them in a different way. So I definitely plan to support the SGA and the student body no matter what the position I have is.
Absolutely. I had the chance to watch you guys, debate, and I just wanted to ask you both, what parts about your platform and yourself do you feel wasn't showcased throughout that? I'm going to start with you.
Yes, definitely. So my platform, I believe it was showcased in a pretty fair light at the debate, but just to speak about it more specifically, I really want the students to feel heard. I think that's my main point. I want everyone to feel heard. I want everyone to be advocated for, and I want everyone to feel comfortable coming to me with their concerns. I think one of the main portions that I would like to incorporate is making SGA as a whole with all of the branches a little bit more forward facing. So I want all of the students to really know who is an SGA, who the people are, who they can walk up to in the cafeteria, in the student center, and say, hey, I want this event, or I want to do this, I have this concern. So I really just want to make SGA more forward-facing for the campus, just because I think students don't really know who is an SGA besides the big three. So I really want to bridge that gap between the students and the student leaders as well, because I think that's a really important way to get the information in a comfortable manner.
Absolutely. I want to say that you did an amazing job during your portion of the debate.
Thank
and
you.
I'm going to transition into you and what you felt like didn't show through.
Definitely likewise. I feel like a good portion of my platform thankfully was covered. But I would say another thing is strength in numbers. That was probably the biggest thing I didn't get to cover as much. The power that students have when they unite, multiple people advocating for stuff as opposed to just one person. If I'm fighting in the meetings for stuff, you guys can be fighting to your teachers, your professors have pulled, your professors can talk to the administration. There are multiple avenues. Some of my friends, are now the new president and vice president-elect at Norfolk State. I've been talking to some of the SGA candidates at Virginia Union. We're trying to unite student bodies across schools. We have multiple HBCUs within this purview of Virginia, and if we all unite, we can really get a lot done for us, our individual schools and just HBCU students in general. About myself, I feel like debates are just so formal. It's so businessy. One of the things that I would say is, I just want people to just come up to me. I'm a regular person. I go to Pizza Hut. I go to the games. I sit on the Marine Point. I walk around campus. Just because I'm involved in student government doesn't mean I'm not a regular student.
Right.
Please feel free to come up to me, have a conversation. If something you like, something you don't like, just talk about food, talk about whatever. The gym. I feel like I could talk about anything, talk all day long. So I hope people are comfortable coming up to me and just expressing whatever they got to.
Absolutely, and again, you did an amazing job within your portion of the debate as well, so I just want to congratulate you on that portion of the campaign season. So I'm going to ask my last question, and I'm going to start with you, Miko. What did you learn about yourself within the campaign experience?
I learned that I really just need to stop being such a perfectionist. I think I've been really looking at the small details of the campaign, but it really just is about the broader scale, and it's really about the students. I really need to put the student voices first, and if I'm selected, that is my main concern. I want the students to feel heard, feel supported, and I just want them to feel advocated for, and that's the biggest thing that I'm fighting for. So I've just learned to kind of take a step back and really look at a broader scale, and that's something that I've really enjoyed throughout these few weeks.
Thank you. What do you think you learned about yourself?
Definitely one of the biggest things I've learned is just the power of just drive, the power of having a vision and just executing that. I was going back and forth on what I wanted my campaign to be, what I wanted the concept to be. And, when I finally stepped into the cooking thing, something I love, it really showed me that, when I put my mind to it and I execute how I intend to, when I plan, when I prepare, anything is possible. And that translates to SGA just the same. I'm ever grateful for, the opportunity to learn that about myself. That goes into my work ethic, my drive, I will never stop, never quit on the Hampton students. It's my goal to just make senior year as best as possible.
Absolutely. Again, I just want to thank you all for coming here today and offering your words of wisdom and just expanding more on your platform. And we want to wish you all the best of luck on behalf
Thanks
of
so much.
WHOV-TV.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Pirates, you can cast your votes for Miko and Jaden on Friday, where they will be campaigning in the Student Center from 9 to 4. You can also stay up to date on all things elections on Instagram at #HuElections2026. See you later, Pirates.